Welcome to Logic Pro 11 Quick Tips. Today we're going to focus on a specific bussing mistake that could turn your song from the big, beautiful, punchy masterpiece that you want it to be into a pile of mushy, phasey trash. And maybe there's some other nuggets in here as well for you. As always, it's best to listen on headphones or studio monitors. And if you're an absolute Logic Pro 11 beginner, then it's best to start with my tutorial for the Overwhelmed Logic Pro Beginner course before jumping into anything else more advanced. So let's get going. So here I have some drum tracks and I have them all going to one bus before sending that to the master stereo out. For the sake of this video, to avoid confusion, I have removed all of the other instruments from this session. I've got some plugins on my drum bus. I've got this nice EQ from Pulsar Modular, and then I have a tape machine plugin. And then finally, I have a compressor over all of the drums, just doing about 1 decibel of compression. Yeah, it doesn't really kick in until the chorus. Oh, and then at the beginning, I just have a gain plugin, which controls the level of all of the drums going into this signal chain. However, I also want to add a parallel compressor to give the kit even more density and impact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this compressor plugin, and let me find the preset that I made. And what I could do is just leave this in line with the other plugins and then adjust the wet dry knob to taste. And that's all well and good, but the problem with this is that maybe I want to send different levels of each part of the drum kit to the compressor. So what I gotta do is I gotta make another bus, and maybe I wanna send most of the kick and the snare top to that, but I don't want any snare bottom in there because it's already pretty compressed as it is. The toms I'm gonna send a good amount. The hi-hat I'm just gonna send a little bit, as well as the overheads. The ride, barely at all, and I'll send a good amount of the rooms. And I'll just move it over to my new bus. And I'm going to route this to my main stereo out. And those toms are really overwhelming the compressor, so I'm actually going to take those down. See, this is why it's good to do this on a separate bus. That's better. And I got a nice super compressed signal to lay as a bed beneath my other drums. So now we listen to that with the dry drum signal. And it sounds disgusting. This doesn't sound at all like I want it to. In fact, it's causing all sorts of smearing and phasing issues. Basically, this is exactly the opposite of what I intended for. Just a quick heads up, it's more difficult than it has ever been to get a YouTube channel going. So if you're getting anything out of this video, then please give it a like and maybe subscribe for more stuff. Thank you very much. Let's get back to the video. So on my main drum bus, I've got all these plugins which are adding all this great stuff to my signal, but they create inherent phase differences from the original signal, which is going to the compressor. When you add these two signals together, you run into this problem. So here's what we always have to remember to do. When you're done setting up your parallel bus, make sure to route it to the main drum bus. So we listen back. And the only issue we have now is that it's just too loud in the mix. So we can just adjust that easily now. And just because I'm hearing it, I'm going to actually take my hi-hat, overhead, ride, and rooms, and I'm going to route them to their own bus before I send that to the main drum out. And I'm just going to insert an EQ on here for now. And I'm dealing with a song that has a lot of built up energy in the upper mid-range, which is never a good thing. You want to be really careful with your upper mid-range. So just for now, I'm going to kind of scoop out that area on my drums. Yeah, right around 2500, there's some ringing going on. So like I said, this is most likely just a temporary fix. I'll most likely use a dynamic EQ later just to take care of this problem when it comes up. But for now, I'll just use a notch EQ. However, I don't want to scoop that frequency out of my kick and my snare because that's really important. So I just sent the culprits to that EQ. And since that's going to my main drum bus, I'm not going to run into those smearing issues. Processing like this is just helping myself make a mental note of what I need to address once it comes time to really get into the mix on this song. So this remains true for everything like guitars, synths, vocals, whatever. If you have radically different processing of the same signal on 2 or even more buses, then in the end, they all have to end up at the same place going through the same signal chain before ultimately being routed to the stereo output. The only thing that you may have to do other than routing is to make sure that you're not overloading the signal going into your main drum bus. The easiest way to do that is to set up a gain plugin like I have here, and then put a level meter after it so that you can monitor the gain staging going in to this signal chain. Since pretty much all of the plugins that I used are based on analog gear with a -18 RMS average, using this Waves Duro meter allows me to monitor using that reference level. I mean, you can do this with a metering plugin inside of your DAW. I just like looking at this more, so that's why I use it. Yeah, see, I'm clipping, so I just want to take everything down another decibel or so. So I hope that this video has helped you or has at least entertained you in some way. And if it has, then please give it a like and subscribe to Como Music Creation. There's also some links to products that help support my efforts in the description below, so please check those out if this stuff helps you at all. Once again, I just want to thank you for tuning in today. I hope you make some great music on your own, and I will see you next time.